Hello and thank you for joining us. From the grocery store to the car dealership, the U.S. is bracing for President Trump's looming tariffs to become a reality. On Wednesday, April 2nd, the president will roll out reciprocal tariffs to match any import taxes other countries have on the U.S. He told reporters about the plans in the Oval Office Monday.
They're reciprocal, so whatever they charge us, we charge them, but we're being nicer than they were. We have a lot of countries, friend and foe. I always say friend and foe, but the friend in many cases is worse than the foe.
The president is planning a Rose Garden event at the White House Wednesday to officially unveil his tariffs. He's describing it as Liberation Day in America. The White House is still trying to contain the fallout from the leaked Signal group chat discussing strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen. The administration has tried to move past the story, but some Republicans in Congress are striking a different tone.
Clearly, the subject matter that's being discussed, the status of ongoing military operations, should be and considered classified information, and it's surprising to find it in an unclassified manner.
It's entirely appropriate for the Inspector General to be able to look at it and to be asked two questions. One is, obviously, how did a reporter get into this thread in the conversation? And the second part of the conversation is, when individuals from the administration are not sitting at their desk in a classified setting on a classified computer, how do they communicate to each other?
CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman joins us now. So, Willie, what do we know about the rollout of these tariffs, and is the White House concerned about public backlash?
Hey there, Lindsay. Good to be with you. Well, this week is really a week of tariffs as the White House will roll out those reciprocal tariffs that President Trump has talked about for weeks now. As you mentioned, he's calling this day Liberation Day in America. On top of that, some 25% tariffs on Canadian and Mexican imports, as well as 25% on foreign-made cars happening later in the week. And over the weekend, I should point out that President Trump, when he was asked during an NBC News interview about the prices going up for automobiles, he said he couldn't care less because if prices on foreign cars go up, they're going to buy American cars. The White House later clarified and mentioned that the president was specifically focusing on those foreign automakers, those foreign cars. But still, nonetheless, despite the concerns about the economy that many Americans and consumers have, the White House is pushing ahead, saying essentially that this will be a better deal for the American economy, for the American government as well, with this tariff plan that President Trump is pushing forward with.
Willie, it has been exactly 1 week since journalist Jeffrey Goldberg published that article detailing his inadvertent inclusion into the group chat with administration officials discussing those strikes on the Houthis. The White House said a review was going to happen. What's the latest?
Yeah, that's right. There was a review process. The White House mentioned that about a day or so after this took place. And White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that this investigation, this look at that the White House took after this journalist was added to that Signal chat is closed. But I'll note that members of Congress, including Republicans, have asked for more information, including the Senate Armed Services Committee, which has asked the Inspector General at the Pentagon to look into this and provide information back to that committee. On top of that, Lindsay, we have a lawsuit now, a watchdog group looking to sue to shine light on this situation. And Judge James Boasberg, who's a judge presiding over a different case involving the president's use of a wartime power to deport alleged gang members. He's presiding over this Signal chat case and has told the Trump administration, told them to preserve those messages that were sent between March 11th and March 15th. So a lot of moving parts here, but the White House might say that it's closed, but there's still an investigation and a legal case playing out.
CBS News has also learned that President Trump is expected to visit Saudi Arabia in May. What does it say that he's chosen Saudi Arabia as his first overseas trip of a second term?
Yeah, I'll note that the president visited Saudi Arabia during his first term. It was the first overseas trip that he made during that first term as well. And traditionally, presidents visit Canada, Mexico, or the United Kingdom. In this case, President Trump is going to visit Saudi Arabia. We have confirmed via sources sometime in mid-May. The writing is on the wall here that this president is very transactional, and he has talked about a $1 trillion investment over a few years from Saudi Arabia as part of the reason why he would visit that country during his first overseas trip. I'll also note that Saudi Arabia has become really pivotal to the relationship, not only with the president, but the country overall. playing that mediator role between Russia and Ukraine, with those conversations ongoing between the United States, Russian officials, and Ukrainian officials to bring an end to that war. And I'll also mention the situation in the Middle East with Israel and Hamas. So Saudi Arabia playing a pivotal role here and will serve as that first foreign country that President Trump will visit during his second term, Lindsay.
Willie, James Inman, thank you so much. CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady joins us now. So, Kelly, what is the expected impact? I mean, does Wednesday happen and boom, the ground shakes, or is it going to be a while before we feel the effects?
So it's going to depend on the industry, but I don't think really in many other cases, except maybe oil, if we were to see a tariff on that you would see an immediate impact. And I'll give you a couple of examples. So auto tariffs, we know that those are going to come into effect on Wednesday. That's as close to a certainty as we can have in this world. Right. Normally, a dealer has about 30 to 60 days of inventory on the lot. So in theory, you wouldn't see price increases happen until they have to import more cars and they would be impacted by a tariff. In a lot of other cases, we have seen retailers stock up, sort of stockpile a lot of those items, whether it be clothes or non-perishable things. So you, in theory, wouldn't see those import taxes impact those goods until they have to import more. But we don't know for certain the list of goods that are going to be impacted. So that's why I highlight oil. Remember that 10% tariff on Canadian energy that had been thrown around? If you see something like that happen, that's where you could see the price impact within a few weeks.
Wow. Okay. So the president says one of these goals is to get companies to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. But as you've reported many times here on the Daily Report, that could take years. So is it possible that these companies are just going to wait it out until the next president possibly rolls back tariffs?
It's a possibility, but that is a really risky bet because 4 years is a long time to be living under that impact and have your goods cost more for consumers. And you're also taking a bet that that next administration might not be Republican or someone that doesn't, sort of have the same thinking as President Trump. Two other things that I will highlight. The president during his campaign floated a lower corporate tax rate for companies that manufacture in the U.S. That's sort of a carrot instead of a stick. And then you also just have you have seen him celebrate companies that have made commitments already to move their manufacturing facilities here. So you could see something where maybe they particularly are exempt from the tariffs if they've already made those commitments. So that's where I think it's a really tough line to walk and say, I'm just going to wait it out.
On Monday, the S&P briefly hit its lowest point since September. We obviously know the markets have been very jittery. What would you say to somebody who's been watching this and they're worried about their investments and their retirement funds?
So if you're planning to retire this year, I feel for you because I know that this is really tough to be looking at your 401k and seeing it just go up and down. So if you're in that situation, think about investing in some more safe assets like money market funds that have a steady but maybe lower return. Gold as well has been doing well. If you're not retiring for a while, just don't look. Just sort of
hands off the wheel.
Take a breath and then, look in 6 months maybe.
Okay. Kelly O'Grady will be hearing and seeing a lot of you this week. Thank you so much.